I think it's kind of a subversion in a lot of ways of the like 90s quote unquote feminism that was so focused on the male gaze, right? It was like, well, it's empowering to be sexy. So yeah, if you fit all these very narrow parameters of like what's hot, then you're empowering yourself and that's feminism. But then Amy owns her rage from having to contort herself for so long.
You're listening to Books We've Loved from NPR.
The book show where we reread old favorites and tell you why they still matter today.
I'm Andrew Limbong.
And I'm B.A. Parker.
What's up, Parker?
Hi, Andrew.
You have been talking about this book since like the first day we started this project. We've made it. Congratulations. You did it.
First, I want to thank you, most importantly, for your patience and your tolerance of my fervor for this book. But first, can we get into who our guest is today?
We've got with us Greta Johnson. Greta co-hosts the HBO's official Game of Thrones podcast and hosts the upcoming podcast Happy to Be Here, which is formerly called Nerdette. She also writes the Gretagram newsletter on Substack. What's up, Greta? How you doing?
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Parker. I'm so glad to talk about this book with y'all. This is going to be fun.
I'm sure you're happy to be here.
I am happy to be here. Thank you,
said
Parker.
that so maliciously.
No, man, I set that up.
That was a very church nice.
No, that was my inner Amy Dunn. No, leave me alone. But okay, I guess we should say our book for today is Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl.
A hefty one, yeah.
I mean,
hefty.
We got bigger books down the line. Don't you judge my Gone Girl. Summary of Gone Girl. Published in 2012. We finally reached the 21st century on this show. Gone Girl is a thriller resting on the shoulders of Nick Dunn, who is the primary suspect in the disappearance of his wife, Amy. The book alternates back and forth between the perspectives of Nick and Amy to show the fracturing of their marriage and that not everything is as it appears. And just a disclaimer, this conversation will discuss sex and sexual assault. And a very important spoiler, because in order to get through most of the book, you have to deal with that spoiler.
Yeah. But I feel like people know, right? Do people know?
I have sort of like randomly been asking people if they know. And it based
just
on
like on the street?
No, like friends I talked to two people who have neither read the book nor seen the movie, but they still knew what happened. So it's an extremely small sample size, but I do think this has reached like Sixth Sense level of just like everybody kind of knows what happened.
Yeah, and you can't be mad at us for spoiling it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
She goes to space at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. She was a mermaid the whole time.
Wow, I can't believe it. The scales in the house, we never knew. You know?
All those baths, it makes so much more sense now.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so Parker, why did you pick this book?
Okay, here's the thing. Gillian Flynn is my girl down. I randomly at a Target like 9 or 10 years ago, I saw a box set of her 3 books. She only made 3. Side note, Gillian, please come back. The home misses you.
Yeah. Get back in that Google Doc.
Get back to that Google Doc and write another book. Anyways, but it was a box set of Dark Places, Sharp Objects, and Gone Girl. And I got through that bad boy in a week and a half. Because something about the female protagonist of that book that I guess in my 20s really touched me. That I had to consume everything, and everything that she has made up to that point, even like her short story, The Grown Up, I hadn't seen in literature at that point in my life. And it had a lasting impact on me. And I guess on the culture as well, some would say for good or bad. But Andrew and Greta, what is your relationship to Gone Girl?
I've never read it.
Yeah?
You had never read it? Oh, that's fascinating.
This is the first time for me. I saw the movie during COVID, so not like when it came out. I saw the movie like within the past like 5 or 6 years or something like that. But I'd never read it. But I'd always used this book and the movie as an example in my mind as like the weird split in how the books world treats prestige versus the film world. Ooh. You know, because like when people talk about like God Girl the movie, it's talking about it as like a film, a serious like, you know, artistic endeavor. And I feel like people unfairly treat Gone Girl the book as like I'm using heavy air quotes here, like just a thriller, right?
Oh.
And I always thought that was kind of weird. And having read it, I feel even further vindicated as to what's going on. But this is a wild read. I want to get more into it. So, Greta, you read it when it came out?
I read it, I believe it was right around when it came out. So I started keeping a little like book journal thing, and it's literally just like the month and year and then like title and author of books. And I started it in January of 2013. And so I looked back to see where Gone Girl was, and I had already read it because it's not in there. But January of 2013, I did read Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. That was the January when I also read a bunch of Tana French. I had like just discovered her. She's a really amazing Irish, also literary, like sort of thriller mystery author. And I was commuting a lot and I was reading a lot on my Kindle, which I had just gotten for Christmas that year. And I was in a very dark place. I remember finally getting to a point that winter where I was like, Greta, you gotta stop. Like, it's getting too weird in your brain. So yeah, that's when I read Gone Girl. And I don't have any like super distinct memories of reading it, except I do feel like there are, kind of to your point, Andrew, like certain authors that like do thrillers in like a very smart, interesting way. And then there's just sort of like the junk food thrillers. And I think there are a lot of people who have tried to mimic what Gone Girl did, and very few have actually, if any, have really pulled it off, I would say.
So it's like an artisanal potato chip. And not
Exactly. Yeah, this is like the $10 bag of chips, you know?
After the break, we will have more Gone Girl and its author Gillian Flynn. So stay with us.
This message comes from NPR sponsor CNN. Stream Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, Prime Cuts now, exclusively on the CNN app. These rarely seen, never-before-streamed episodes dig deep into the Parts Unknown archives with personal insights from Anthony Bourdain and rare behind-the-scenes interviews about each season. Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, Prime Cuts, now streaming exclusively on the CNN app. Subscribe now at cnn.com/all-access. Available in the U.S. only.
This message comes from Schwab. Everyone has moments when they could have done better. Same goes for where you invest. Level up and invest smarter with Schwab. Get market insights, education, and human help when you need it. This message comes from Capital One Commercial Bank. Your business requires commercial banking solutions that prioritize your long-term success. With Capital One, get a full suite of financial products and services tailored to meet your needs today and goals for tomorrow. Learn more at CapitalOne.com/commercial. Member FDIC.
We're back. But before the break, we talked about our personal connections to Gone Girl. But I'd like to zoom out and talk about Gillian Flynn. So Flynn was born in 1971 in Kansas City, Missouri, former writer for Entertainment Weekly. So Flynn based a lot of the character of Nick on herself as a Missourian magazine writer impacted by the recession. The true villain of this book. And
Come on now. There's one villain.
the true villain of this book is the recession.
I know you got your takes that you're going to watch
It's
out. But
not Amy's fault. If Big Short had screwed everyone over, she would not have had to do what she had to do. Anyways, Gillian Flynn wanted to write a whodunit revolving around a marriage. And Gone Girl was, in fact, like she says, the first book that she wrote out of the three, but it was the last to be published.
Wait, was the 3 books, that was that like box set that you bought?
Yeah.
That's it, man.
That's it.
We are starving. The culture needs her so
She really has
badly.
shifted to screenplays. I mean, that's what she's been up to.
I learned that her dad was a film professor and her mom taught reading. And as being a reporter for Entertainment Weekly for all those years, she talked to all these Hollywood people, and all that just meshed together. And she wrote the adaptation of Widows by Steve McQueen. And the biggest crime of the Academy is that she was not nominated for adapted screenplay for Gone Girl, even though it's a perfect script, and it won every other award. But that is neither here nor there. But I am calm. I'm calm, you guys. But right now she is in the midst of adapting her first book, Dark Places, which was already a movie, but not the best movie, but now
Which one was a HBO show? Was that Sharp Objects?
Sharp
Sharp
Objects.
Objects. That was a great show, yeah.
If you love Munchausen and self-harm, and
Yeah. Right
You
in
might
the
have just
good
spoiled
vibe,
it, but that's okay.
I mean, there's so much more to the book.
Can I ask, Greta, as a Midwesterner, and I'm a coastal elite dirtbag.
He's currently wearing a beanie with the suit. I want that to be noted.
I'm a coastal elite dirtbag, born in Brooklyn. We know how I'm dressed. we know the vibe. We know the deal.
Yeah.
Is this book seems a little mean to the people of Missouri.
I mean, I think those are mostly from the point of view of a
Elite.
born and bred coastal elite who hates the Midwest. So I don't think it's like inherently Midwest, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, no, I don't. But I feel like it was like coming at it from both like Nick and Amy, where it's like there's this perception of like the big city, New York, and then Missouri and the Midwest.
Yeah. There is sort of like a provincial apologism to it almost that is really interesting.
Yeah.
I also, though, I don't know, it was really interesting rewatching the movie because what translated to me more than Midwestiness was actually Southiness of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've all got Southern accents. But yeah, either way, I mean, we're definitely in flyover country with this one.
Yeah. Well, I think something about this book that's interesting to me is that it takes place, pre-Trump era, pre-2016 election, but it does sort of get at the broader cultural divides that like the world is like fracturing into. And it is really self-aware in, especially when it comes to men, like types of guys. Taxonomizing dudes based on like what they wear, how they like present publicly, what kind of job that they have, what kind of game,
I mean, Andrew, you are in this book. Like you are.
Listen, she starts making fun of some dude with a messenger bag, and I'm like, bro, why you gotta do me like that?
I will say, under that Midwestern Southern guise, there is this kind of like plight of being Midwestern. Like Nick is such a product of where he's from, the Midwestern nice, that it bites him in the butt. So even if he tries to like averse himself from that community in certain aspects and be part of that coastal elite, there is that, I guess I gotta smile. I gotta be polite, and like being polite kind of bites you in the butt. Yeah. But I was curious about like how this book has shown up culturally, because the movie came out in 2014. And it's also, for better or worse, it did spearhead like this barrage of, they call it the Gone Girl effect, of these like white women-led crime dramas. You'd have like The Affair, Girl on the Train. I forgot what the stat was, but the amount of books that came out post this into like 2023 that had girl in the title.
Yes.
After Gone Girl.
Yes.
It was like astronomical. Like it still has this impact, but also this idea of the kind of unlikable, well, we say unlikable in air quotes. I don't, Amy
Unreliable
Dunn, my girl,
for sure, but yeah.
unreliable, unsentimental female protagonist kind of bubbles up into the culture in a way that I hadn't seen before. And I think that was the kind of the lasting impact of it. Like, would we have a Tar without Gone Girl? Or like, would we have, or would we have anything Nicole Kidman's been in the last 10 years?
Right.
Without a Gone Girl.
Which are mostly like Leanne Moriarty adaptations. But yeah, it's definitely the clientele.
Within that realm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I just feel like it has had this lasting impact that I don't think we have truly appreciated.
Reckoned
I
with,
think you see its impact in the publishing world very strongly still. I mean, partly just because of all these other authors who have come up who write in similar genres. Like literally yesterday, I got a pitch for a book coming out next year that they compared to, they were like, it's a Gone Girl for the Luigi Mangione era. Like it is still, like it is that.
Into it.
There's just like, I think it is still one of the most used titles in terms of like a reference point for new books. And it's often misused horribly. But I think that's a really huge marker of its impact, that people are still referring to it that much in the publishing world.
There's also something about this book. Again, so it came out in 2012, right? It's such a unique time. I think when I was reading it, I found it dated, but in a good way. It's very specific to this Obama era period of like culture, but it's right on the precipice, right before, Instagram, TikTok, like the internet really takes off.
Right, it's
But
still like
we're
blog
still,
time.
Yeah, it's still blog time, and we're still only very much relating to each other through the culture that we consume, though. There's a lot in this book about like being like certain pop cultures or acting the way certain people do. Actually, Gillian Flynn was on NPR in 2012 just talking about that.
Yeah, I was definitely playing with the idea of how difficult it is in this day and age to have an authentic self. We're into this barrage of pop culture, TV, movies, the internet. We become sort of creatures that we've made up. I mean, made of certain different flotsam from pop culture and certain different personas that are in style. And it was definitely playing with that idea of what do you do when two people marry? They each have a certain persona that they have created, and as that gets dismantled, what does that reveal?
It's very common now to read books in a metatextual sense where like the characters themselves are aware of how media influenced that they are. But I think this was like a big one that made it sort of its thesis statement that we're all just made up of pastiches of the things that we enjoy.
I love that. I mean, it kind of reminds me of another thing. She was quoted in Publishers Weekly, Gillian was talking about how marriage is a long con. And I think that has a very similar vibe to it, right? That idea of like tricking someone into like making them think you are a certain way, and then like how long can you really uphold that, and at what cost?
Well, I think
A few years.
Yeah, how long have you been married now, Andrew?
I'm still rocking it. We're doing good. Yeah,
You're great.
I want to, Parker, set the stage for you to gather up all your evidence for your Amy Dunn did nothing wrong. Here we go.
Okay, we'll be right back.
This message comes from the Council for Interior Design Qualification. Interior designer and CIDQ president Siavash Madani describes the rigor of NCIDQ certification.
An NCIDQ certified interior designer must complete a minimum of 6 years of specialized education and work experience. Being NCIDQ certified means that you've proven your knowledge and skills and are recognized as a qualified interior design professional.
Learn more at cidq.org/NPR.
Okay, I want to talk like exclusively about the book and pick apart bits and pieces of it because this is my time to shine and be like, Amy Dunn, for
Here
all
we have
her
with us
flaws,
Amy Dunn's defense attorney.
Look, do I agree with everything she does? No. Should she have falsified sexual assault more than once? No. That's a big red
great.
flag.
I'm glad we
No.
can all agree on that one.
Yeah.
That's bad. However,
Okay.
you marry a man that you love. He moves you to Missouri for your family. He spends all your money, leaves you by yourself. He spends time with his twin, like a little too much, while also having an affair with the student. And if all you have is nothing but time, I guess I would plot a fake murder.
Yeah, a girl could crash out. Yeah.
This is peak crashing out, Andrew. This is peak crashing out. I mean, yeah, a couple of things bad, but that little window of things she did to her husband specifically, valid.
Is this a pro Amy or an anti Nick take?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's both. Why are you trying to create a binary?
Okay, true.
Okay. Well, so then, Parker, you're arguing that you think Amy's falsified sexual assaults aside,
Yeah.
you think Amy framing her husband for murder is commensurate with what he had put her through.
She just wanted to feel seen, man. Is she a good
She was
communicator?
seen.
No. I feel like if she wrote all of those limericks to let them solve the puzzle and writing a diary, could she have focused that into like maybe a 10-page letter?
Or like
on how
learning
he
a
did
new
her
craft
wrong?
or something.
There's a moment around page 100 where she like lays it on thick of like, I do not feel safe. And you're
Right.
like, oh, this is where the pivot is. And this is where she's like setting him up and like, this is how I will destroy my husband's life. How do you feel, Andrew? You scared?
So as a man,
Good start. Good start. Love it.
no, I mean, I don't know. It was like she was validated. I think so. The big thesis of her actions is that big famous speech she has, right? Or I guess it's a diary entry, right?
The cool girl monologue.
Yeah. Should we get into it now? I think we can't talk about her intentions without her sort of explaining what her vibe is.
Nick and Amy will be gone, but then we never really existed. Nick loved a girl I was pretending to be. Cool girl. Men always use that, don't they, as their defining compliment. She's a cool girl. Cool girl is hot. Cool girl is game. Cool girl is fun. Cool girl never gets angry at her man.
Rosbeth Pike did her big one. Like, that was...
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I will
that
say,
was
I
great.
think the monologue, the writing in the book is longer, so much more nuanced.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the ideology behind Cool Girl is, but I still love it.
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of a subversion in a lot of ways of the 90s quote unquote feminism that was so focused on the male gaze, right? It was like, well, it's empowering to be sexy. So yeah, if you fit all these very narrow parameters of what's hot, then you're empowering yourself and that's feminism. But then Amy owns her rage from having to contort herself for so long.
Yeah.
It's
It's such a bizarre pocket to have to navigate. And I feel like because Amy is kind of trapped in that world of trying to fit these narrow parameters, because she's also, another aspect of the book is her parents were psychologists who wrote these children books called Amazing Amy, which are basically her, but an improved version upon who she is. So she is constantly being prodded and analyzed and feeling not good enough in all aspects of her life. And I feel like, again, terrible thing she did, but it was her own. It was something that she crafted for herself.
It is interesting thinking about that being her one act of true individual agency. It's still sociopathic though.
But yeah, I will say that there has been also, because of this book and because of, I think, her previous two books, but particularly Gone Girl, there was at that time this picking apart of that book as being anti-feminist because it had this unlikable protagonist, which I think is unfair. I think Gillian very smartly at that time said, why can't a woman be these things, even if they're awful things? Then why can't a woman be awful? She can make poor choices and that's okay. How many noirs have we watched of a detective or a man doing an
being
awful,
being
kind of bad, but also being championed for it. But somehow because Amy's acting out of pocket, it's now a downfall for all women everywhere.
Yeah. No, that's not reasonable.
But it's just
sure.
to go back to how ensconced in the 2012ness Are we leaning in at this point? Are we, or have we not leaned in yet? Where are we in shows that era of
we're definitely girl bossing, right?
we're definitely girl
We're
bossing.
girl
Exactly.
bossing.
Yeah.
We're pivoting because Amy also had a job in the media, and towards the end of it, she knows how to manipulate the media in a way that works for her.
Yeah.
And she knows how she's going to be perceived.
She was definitely
knows,
reading XO Jane.
Yeah.
She knows how she's going to be perceived. She knows how Nick is going to be perceived. She knows how law enforcement is going to react or ignore. And I think, for better or worse, that also feels very 2025 because we're now so media groomed and so aware of we all want to believe that we have PR training when we don't. We all want to go straight to the camera. If this was 2025, Amy would have put out a live stream and would have been this is how my husband did me dirty and I had to fake my death to get him to respect me. If anything, it's gotten worse.
Do you think citizen journalists would have found her though?
100%.
But I saw the couch and from this angle I'll go
Yes,
Google
the ottoman,
Maps
the
and see
ottoman.
that you're in the Ozarks. Yeah.
I just looked it up. Lean In came out in 2013, the book, for what it's worth.
Okay,
Braze
so
was
we're
around
about
by
to.
then.
We're just about to lean in.
We're close.
Yeah.
Gillian got in that window.
scooped them.
Yeah.
She was
She's
like,
here's what to do with your lean in. Lean into this.
I think that's a good place to take a break. But when we are back, we're going to answer the question, why does Gone Girl need to be read now? And we're going to hear from another fan of the book. We'll be right back.
This message comes from the Council for Interior Design Qualification. Interior designer and CIDQ president Siavash Madani explains why good design is so much more than looks.
Good design is never just about aesthetics. It's about intention, safety, and impact. Being NCIDQ certified means you've qualified to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public.
Learn more at cidq.org/NPR.
All right, so we're back. Greta, let's ask you the final question. Why does Gone Girl need to be read now, today, in this era?
I think that's a great question. I think purely from a reader pleasure point of view, partly what's so fun about this book is that both Nick and Amy's characters are so unhinged that like by the end of this book, it could go absolutely anywhere and you would believe it, which I think is like still difficult to pull off in a way that feels realistic. You know, it's one thing when you're just like, okay, this is just like out there. But this one, I think their characters are both painted realistically enough that you're like, who knows? And that's pretty fun as a reader.
I'm thinking about like the impact that the book had on me just as like a reader, just like when I'm nostalgic for like a quick read that has impact. I think the first experience I had of reading Gone Girl, it still feels revelatory to me every time I read it. And I want other people to have that feeling.
What do you think, Andrew?
I've been thinking this book. My voice is going up right now because I'm just
how
like
much his voice is going up.
Andrew's in hater mode. Hold on.
There's a lot about gender roles in this book that made me thinking, and I'm going to bring this up later in my like recommendation section. But thinking about like what being not just being married, but what like being a husband is, and what being a husband like what is like that job. And especially as like roles evolve and like gender roles like sort of like change shape, like how to position yourself as a good partner. I think that's essentially what this book is like trying to like poke questions at. And I guess like the first answer to that is like, don't cheat. That's probably
Great. I'm really glad you got that.
Baseline, don't cheat, and then take it from there.
Yeah. I mean, that is an interesting one because, he abandons most gender roles. Right? I mean, to your point, yes, they have evolved a lot, but he's certainly not providing for the household. Just
he wants to be there.
Right. It is.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, Andrew.
Yeah. No, totally.
So they say.
So speaking of recommendations, you want to get to, if you like this, read that. I'll take it since I'll like segue into this.
Go ahead, man.
One of my favorite books from 2024 was Sarah Manguso's Liars. And that was another book written from the point of view of an unreliable narrator and writing about her husband cheating. Right. And it sort of like devolves from there. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the marriage sort of like dissolves. And both books I started reading, been like thinking, I'm better than this guy. This guy sucks. What is this? And then towards like the middle point, I was just like, oh, damn, I'm not that good. I need to be better. You know what I mean? It made me want to be a better husband, as corny as that sounds. And so, fellas, if you need some inspiration on what not to do, it's Gone Girl and Sarah Manguso's Liars.
That's so funny because I tried reading that book and I couldn't do it because my tolerance of that dude was so low.
He sucks.
And I don't know if that just speaks to like how well I've evolved in the past, decade-ish, but I was just like, I cannot spend time with this person at all.
Oh my God. My recommendation is I stuck with the idea of what happens when you have no other recourse but to support your volatile loved one. You end up becoming complicit in their behavior. And so I went with, it's also very pulpy. I picked My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite.
She has a new one coming this year.
She does. I'm so excited. But it felt very like the sister that's not the serial killer. It felt a little like Nick Dunn to me. It's like, I guess I got to deal with this.
I could see that. I love that.
So
that's a great
That's my recommendation. Greta?
That's perfect. So mine is Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff, and it came out in 2015. But I actually went straight from finishing Gone Girl to just like, let's do Fates and Furies now. Why not? And
Damn, you read it back?
And I'm still reading it. And it is, I cannot speak to where my brain is at this moment in time. But
can we hug you through the screen?
That would be nice. Thank you, Parker. I think they're very similar in terms of like stories about marriage, husbands and wives, where like you think things are a certain way because the husband thinks things are a certain way. And then in Fates and Furies also, there's like a pretty significant POV shift from husband to wife. Speaking of the word fury, these books both are about like women trying to like mitigate and then perhaps own their rage, which is always kind of a fun time, I think.
Damn, being married rocks.
We're
dude.
all having such a good time. Greta, thank you so much for being here to talk with us.
This is a blast.
Thank you. What a treat.
And now for this week's Phone-A-Fan, I sat with author Andrea Bartz. Hey, Andrea.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. All right, so we're going to talk a bit about Gone Girl. Something about, some distressed ladies causing havoc.
Sign me up. Where do I sign?
So Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl and I think with your book, We Were Never Here, both feature unreliable narrators.
Yes.
Why do you think readers are drawn to that kind of storytelling?
I think it makes the experience of reading a book interactive when you're also playing detective in a different way. This book kind of changed the game for psychological thrillers because before that, with some exceptions, but for the most part, like what they were telling you is what you could believe, what the narrator was saying was real. And suddenly this adds like a meta element, an additional dimension that what you are being told by the narrator might not be true. And that's so fun and exciting and makes you question it in a different way.
Because I love that both of y'all reveal like the darker sides of everyday relationships.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to say like, Kristen, I kind of get it.
Me too.
What do their stories suggest about the masks that people wear?
Oh, I love that question. What is so interesting about Gone Girl is that it sort of gives us this peek inside a perfect seeming marriage. And from the outside, like Nick and Amy are so beautiful and so great together. And then we get sort of led inside to the darkness and the dark stuff going on between them. And in a similar way, in We Were Never Here, Emily and Kristen have this like really beautiful friendship and adore each other. But there's also so much more going on that's under the surface. And I think there's something really universal about recognizing, especially as women, that we have this, external character that we present to the world, right? This mask. And then underneath it, there's so much stuff that we're keeping inside. And so it's really fun and satisfying to read these books, especially first person, like these books, or, really close third, and to actually be let into the shame, the rage, the vulnerability, all this stuff that we're not allowed to sort of put on display in our daily lives and to experience it through these characters.
That's interesting because I'm also thinking about how both of you are Midwestern girlies and there is a certain kind of expectation in that backdrop of like there is like a kindness. There is a level of civility and, the beauty of America. Like all of these.
Midwestern nice.
I mean, but I think, so you're from Wisconsin. I think Flynn is from Missouri. But what is it about the Midwest, that setting that you feel makes for a great backdrop to like paranoia and isolation in your novel?
So growing up in the Midwest, I sort of learned from a young age, intuited that we all keep a stiff upper lip. If you have problems, you keep them to yourself. If you think a thought about someone that's not very nice, you keep that to yourself. In fact, you shouldn't even have that thought. It's wrong to even have that thought. It's this civility above all else. So even if you're rightfully enraged about something, you keep that inside. You don't reveal it. And I think the reason that this isn't your question, but I think the reason that a lot of authors come from the Midwest is because, you know, even as kids, we develop this superpower of reading people nonverbally and reading between the lines. If my mom says something that seems totally innocent and nice, I know if she actually means something much ruder. Whereas my partner, who's from the South, is like, what are you talking about? She just said XYZ. Yeah. So when you get that good at sort of putting yourself into someone else's shoes, figuring out what they actually mean, really thinking through, you know, their motivations and their experience and their feelings, I think that really sets you up in a good way as an author, especially for psychological thrillers, to really delve deep into the psyche of these fictional characters.
Guys, that's so fun. All right, okay. Do you have time for a game?
Do I ever?
All right, so we're calling this game In or Gone Girl. I'll rattle off a list of famous literary killers and femme fatales, and you decide if they stay or if they're gone, girl.
Okay, I'm ready.
Tom Ripley from The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, he's in.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're doing all right. Patrick Bateman, American Psycho.
Oh, Gone Girl.
Same. Annie Wilkes from Misery.
Oh, Gone Girl.
Gone
Can't
Girl.
get close to her.
There you go. That's too close to home.
I don't know about close to home, but you know what? We're not going anywhere near that.
All right, okay. Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal.
I'm going to say in, because if he doesn't have beef with me, he seems like a fascinating guy to keep around.
That's so valid.
Right?
He's so cultured.
He knows his wines.
I mean, he knows good meat.
For the meat alone. For the dinner parties alone.
For the dinner parties. Oh my gosh. So much culture. Amy Dunn, Gone Girl.
Oh, in for sure. I want her to be my best friend.
I mean, would she want to be our best friend? Probably not.
Probably not.
Or she would like sabotage us somehow. But I'd be like, you know what? That's on me.
The irony is she's such a cool girl.
She's such a cool girl.
So cool.
Even if she doesn't want to. All right. Our girl Kristen from We Were Never Here.
Oh, our girl Kristen. I mean, people can say what they want. I love the girl.
I just want to say, killing a guy so that you can like trauma bond with your BFF, I see the vision. Wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't do it, but I respect it.
Wouldn't do it.
I mean, what's the saying? Like a good friend helps you move, a best friend helps you move the body.
A word. Listen, on that note, thank you so much, Andrea. Really great talking to you. And be sure to pick up Andrea's latest book, The Last Fairy Out now.
And that's the show. This episode was produced by Cher Vincent and edited by Megan Sullivan.
Engineering support by Robert Rodriguez, and our executive producer is Yolanda Sanguini.
Thank you for listening to Books We've Loved from NPR. We'll see you next time.
This message comes from Vital Farms, who works with small American farms to bring you pasture-raised eggs. Farmer Tanner Pace shares why he believes it's important to care for his land and how he hopes to pass the opportunity to farm onto his sons.
We're paving the way for a future. We only have one earth, and we have to make it count. Like my boys, I want to see them taking care of the land for them to be able to farm and then generations to come. I really enjoy seeing, especially my whole family up there working with me, and to be able to instill the things that my father, mother, and then grandparents instilled in me that I can instill in the boys. That's just the most rewarding thing that there could ever be. Vital Farms, they're motivated for the well-being of the animals, for the well-being of the land, the whole grand scope of things. They care about it all, and that means a lot to me.
To learn more about how Vital Farms farmers care for their hens, visit vitalfarms.com.